Welcome to the David Bradley Show with your host, David Bradley.
What's up, everybody? It's Wednesday. I hope everybody's having a good day. It's going to be fun.
Tuesday.
Is it Tuesday?
Where you at?
Really? I don't know where I'm at.
It's Tuesday.
So I'm glad I got my girls telling me what I'm doing here. So I appreciate it. Thank you. It's Tuesday. Anyway, we're going to delve into an artist that I thought had such an interesting story, and her path has just been, there's no other words to say. It's just cool as all get out. So that's what I wanted to get into because it's, I think it's good stuff. What do you think? Come on, Rebekah, talk. See something.
I'm surprised that you find it that interesting, but thank you, and I'm glad to be here.
I find things interesting all the time. Everybody, Rebekah Gilbert, please.
Thank you for having me.
I'm glad you can make it because, my God, you've been in Washington.
Yeah. So my husband and I went for just a week. We normally go somewhere in October and try to see some fall leaves and nature and such because, you know, I live in Alabama and we don't get much of that there. So.
Yeah, but you got to run away for a little way.
We did.
Yeah.
And we went to Olympic National Forest. And
It's beautiful.
Oh my goodness, so much variety in the landscape. So we did the entire loop of that, and then we drove over to Mount Rainier, and we tried to do the Skyline Trail in Mount Rainier, which is a 5-mile hike.
Right.
We're so excited, and we got 1 mile in, and it was snowing so heavy, and they had already had snow, and so the trail was already had places that were sheets of ice, and
Right.
we were not prepared for that, you know, being from Alabama.
You braver than me because I'm telling you right now, if I ain't got something with a motor on it, I ain't going.
I'm a little bit like that, but I'm venturing out. So we got about 1 mile in, and he wanted to keep going. I was like, I'm a little afraid to keep going. So
Yeah.
we turned around, and then so that was a day in Mount Rainier, and then we drove up to the North Cascades and just drove through that, and then made our way back into Seattle. So it was a beautiful
Now,
week.
Did you stay at multiple cabins?
We did. We stayed at 4 different Airbnbs and a hotel.
Because I was curious because I seen where you was doing that little trek down to that waterfall that somebody had told you about.
Yeah.
And I was just like, dude, that's cool.
Yeah, so we stayed. That was an Airbnb that we stayed in 2 nights, and so the hostess, had messaged me before we even got there, and was like, "There's a secret waterfall." She said it's not really so secret anymore. A lot of people have found out about it, but
Yeah.
she gave us the directions to it, and so we get there, and it's almost dark, and we start climbing up this hill, and she neglected to tell us how steep this hike was, and so
Yeah, I seen the rope in
Yeah.
between the trees
Yeah.
and stuff going down the hill. I was like, no.
I'm kind of a flat trail hiker, so
Yeah.
that was a bit much for me.
Yeah.
It was worth it, though. It was beautiful. The waterfall was gorgeous.
It was gorgeous. I mean, when you were showing video of it and everything, I was just like, the little kid in me come out.
Yeah,
Only thing I wanted to do was just jump in it and
Right.
ride it down.
right.
That would have been fun.
Maybe in the summertime. It was kind
Maybe.
of cold.
Nah, that's too cold. Because when I was driving truck, we actually came through a place, and from the interstate, you could see the waterfall
Yeah,
coming off the top and coming down, and it was huge.
yeah,
But it was so gorgeous.
yeah. We saw so many waterfalls on this trip. Mm-hmm. I mean, just everywhere we went, you know,
Yeah.
went on lots of different paths and trails, and I love photography. I'm not great at it, but I love to take pictures.
All right.
And so I took a lot of waterfall photos this time. So that was
I
fun.
can imagine. Yeah. Now you just got to put them up on your website.
I do. You know, somebody has told me, several people actually have told me over the years that I should try to sell some of these photos, but I've never attempted to do that. So we'll see.
You never know. I mean, there's a lot of nature people out there. They love seeing beautiful scenery.
I agree. And there's also a lot better photographers. So I'm like, maybe I should leave selling to them.
It don't matter. You could be, right off the top of my head, I cannot name a famous photographer. The only one I really know that does really good is Bo Judkins. He does a lot of photos for me and stuff. And he taught it himself.
Yeah, so many people do.
You know, and he's out doing concert photos and weddings and stuff like that. And I'm just like, this young kid with this freaking talent, man.
Right, yeah.
And I was just like, holy crap.
Yeah. What's interesting to me is a couple of years ago, we went on a trip. I don't remember which trip it was, but I think it was to the Grand Tetons in Yellowstone. And so I wanted a new camera. So we stopped on the way to the Atlanta airport, stopped at Best Buy, and bought a camera. And do you know that I use my iPhone camera far more than I ever used that camera?
It is amazing.
I mean, the technology on the iPhone cameras is just amazing. And that's what I do most of my photography on. So I don't know if I'd call myself a photographer, but I enjoy taking pictures. So,
well, if you take a picture, you're a photographer.
Gotcha.
I mean, that's just the way I feel about it.
That's kind of the way I feel about writing. Like, if you write, you're a writer.
Yeah. If you wrote a poem back in school, you're a writer.
Right.
Because a lot of people that I've talked to, I've noticed, like, between 9 years old and 12 years old is where the music bug is getting them. And it's either like a music household or church. And I was just like, I find that fascinating, you know, because you do 100 interviews and the people that you talk to and everything, and somehow it always comes back to that. And then you're finding out, and it's like, I feel like I'm doing a survey or something, you know. I mean, it's okay. Well, here's another one, you know, but it's I find it wild that they're actually getting the bug at that age.
Oh yeah.
Because I did church. I did the bass because my dad's voice was deeper than mine. So when you know, the whole vocal change and everything, he would drag me up there with him, and he would sing the deep bass, and I was like up just a little bit from him, you know. We had the bass line covered.
Gotcha.
It was fun, but I couldn't learn the guitar. Papa Joe tried to teach me the guitar, and I couldn't play. And my grandmother, she played piano.
Yes.
But she played everything by ear.
Oh, I'm so jealous of those people.
My daughter's the same way. You give Anna a keyboard, couple of weeks, she's playing Evanescence. You give her a bass guitar, 2-3 weeks later, she's plinking out on it.
Yeah, that's
just wearing it out.
That's just a gift, you know.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
I could never do it. I mean, I tried the in-ear, the by ear doing stuff, but I never could get the coordination down. This hand and this hand. Don't even start talking to me about upstroke or up pick or this and that. I never could get anything together.
Yeah. So that's been a struggle for me as well.
Is it?
Yeah. So I put off taking guitar lessons for a very long time. As a kid, I took piano lessons.
Right.
Starting at age 7, I think my mother put me in piano lessons, and I took on and off. We moved a lot, and so I took on and off through till probably I was like 14. But I never really got it down. I never learned theory. I would just learn a piece, and then that would be it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I ended up just quitting piano. I was done with that. I'm not good at it. So when I started writing music and I started playing, I had somebody playing for me. And then it got to the point where, I was like, I have got to be able to do this for myself.
When you was writing the song, though, as far as the music portion of it, was it just something you had in your head and you could hum it out?
Yeah, I could pick it out on piano.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I could pick out a melody on the piano, and then, I would have to have help with chord progressions and that sort of thing.
See, I can't do that.
Okay. So I could do that. But then I got to the point where I was like, I have got to learn to play guitar for myself. And so I took some lessons on and off for I don't know, a year or two, and I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
I can't do it. And this has probably been like 7 or 8 years ago. Well, 5 years ago, I was determined. I said, I'm not depending on anybody else. If I'm going to write songs, I'm going to play songs. I've got to do this myself. And so I found a guitar teacher who has been absolutely fabulous. And I take 2 lessons a week and have for 5 years. And that's how difficult it is to play guitar for me.
You know, I think a lot of people, though, will get away from the guitar just because they don't get along with the teacher. I think there needs to be a connection there. You know?
I agree. And I think your instructor has to teach to your way of learning. I've had a couple of teachers who, you know, they taught the way they knew to teach.
Right.
I couldn't learn that way. And I found somebody who, when he writes things out for me, he was like, don't show this to anybody else because they're going to go, what kind of guitar teacher do you have? But it's the only way I can learn. And he knows that. And so, you know, he's been great for me. So I still take 2 lessons a week.
See, that's awesome.
Just trying to get better.
I love it because I know some people that they take vocal lessons.
Yeah.
And they'll take vocal lessons twice a week. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, but you've got 6 albums out already. I mean, nope, they still want to do it.
Yeah, you just want to get better, you know?
Yeah. And that's what I love. I love it when people have a craft.
Yeah.
And they want to peak.
Yes.
Get as best as they can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or bestest, or however you want to say that. Bestest. I like bestest. There's Julie over laughing at me now.
We won't correct your grammar over here.
Yeah. I went to Nashville schools. Give me a break. Julie's like, I did too. Oh, that's what's crazy. But yeah, I just, the whole church thing and the learning process and all that. I mean, it really blows me away when people have a passion or a drive and they really, really go into it.
Yeah.
And they learn it.
Yeah. I am amazed by young people who do that and who make the commitment and the dedication to continue with that, because I didn't have that for a very long time. I mean, it took me until just a few years ago to be that committed and that dedicated to say, I'm going to do this.
Right.
So I am amazed by younger people who have that dedication and that commitment to perfecting their craft.
Well, see, we did 48 interviews down at CMA Fest this year. And what got me was a lot of the people that we were interviewing, the way, I mean, they had real good music, you know, and they honed their craft. But they were young.
Yeah.
And one guy, she's taking pictures. One guy incorporated a mouth harp on one of his songs.
Wow.
And they're bringing back older instruments, mandolin.
Oh, I love a mandolin.
Oh God, it's the greatest. And banjo. I love banjo. I mean, some of my fondest memories growing up was watching Hee Haw.
Yeah. Same.
Roy Clark. It didn't matter if it was a guitar or a banjo. Dude was just next level.
Right.
I mean, he was just like, yeah. I wanted to do the Wayne's World thing with him, you know, like they did with Alice Cooper. We're not worthy.
Right,
We're not worthy, you know. I mean, it was amazing. And I still, to this day, I will tell people, go back and look at some of Roy Clark's stuff. It is just amazing what that guy could do.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter, acoustic, electric, a banjo. I mean, he probably could play a mandolin or anything he put in his hands.
Yeah.
I hate those people.
I'm just in awe of those people.
Yeah. Well, I got a friend of mine, Tim Thurber. He plays, he can play guitar and he can play drums.
Nice.
And he's probably one of those guys that you could throw an instrument at him and he'd start playing it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
I ain't buying him no more beer. We're done. No, he's a good guy. But yeah, it just drives me nuts on all that stuff.
If I had to choose an instrument that I love the most and love the sound of and wish I were great at, it would be piano. I learned guitar out of necessity.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's hard to carry a piano and even a big keyboard around.
Yeah.
So I learned guitar out of necessity, but I think piano is my love. Like that's what I love to listen to, and I just love the feel of a piano keys.
Yeah. I wonder, because I think about back on it, you know, like back in the 80s, the hair metal days and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. There were so many rock acts back then that were writing songs just on keyboards. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Especially the ballads.
Right, yeah.
Got to have the ballads. And it was just I wonder what the ratio would be, songs made on a keyboard or song made on a regular acoustic guitar.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to know.
I don't think I could pull that off. Who would you ask? Would you ask Google?
Probably. Google knows everything.
Google knows everything. Except what I did last week. Who knows? It gets crazy. So how's your itinerary for the rest of this week?
Well, let's see. I have 2 co-writes tomorrow, playing Bobby's Idol Hour on Thursday.
That's a good co-write. Well, a good round.
Uh-huh. And then possibly another ride on Friday, and then Saturday playing Commodore Grill again. So,
sweet.
Yeah. Busy week.
I haven't been to Commodore Grill since I was like 22.
No way. There's so many great songwriters that go through there.
Well, back then it wasn't really a songwriter place or anything.
Gotcha.
It was just a place to go pick up college girls.
Okay.
Just tell the truth, you know.
I have been, so here's my thing. I didn't really get into songwriting until about 12 years ago.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I was first a writer as far as like prose and poetry.
Right.
And it's a long story. Do you want me to detail this out for you?
You can do whatever you want to do.
Okay.
I don't care. This is your show.
Okay. So as a kid, I didn't really notice that I would make up lyrics and such. It took me being an adult in my mid-30s, looking back on my life going, oh, hey, I wrote a song for my sister's birthday.
Yeah.
And my best friend and I would sit outside and make up songs or make up lyrics to songs, So
Yeah. I used to do that, but I
Okay.
was always putting the dirty words in there.
Oh, gotcha.
I was weird. And the Barney song, oh my God. The Barney song, I have changed that so many times.
My kids were obsessed with the Barney song.
My daughter was obsessed with Barney.
Yeah, mine too. So it took me being in my mid-30s to realize, I might have the gift of songwriting.
Right.
Because in my mid-30s, I was blogging at the time, and I had talked to someone previously about, hey, I might want to write songs, but I don't have a clue
Right.
what I'm doing. Can you help me? And this person, they kind of blew me off, and that happened a couple of times. So when I was looking back on my life, I was like, I think I might have this gift. And so as I was blogging, somebody reached out to me and said, hey, have you ever thought about writing songs? You write really lyrically. Mm-hmm. I was like, yeah, I've thought about it, but I don't have a clue. And so this person kind of mentored me. And then I met other people who mentored me, and it just kind of grew from there. But I don't think I realized it as a child. As a child, it was more about writing prose for me. And, I was going to write a book and all this kind of stuff, which I did write a poetry book, but I was going to write a different book that I did not write.
Yeah, is that a good thing or?
You know, some people would say it's a good thing. I got halfway in. I got about 9 chapters in and quit. And maybe one day I'll go back and finish it.
Rebekah's unfinished book.
Yes. There sit the 9 chapters.
Auction starts at $25.95.
Right.
We'll get it wrote by God.
I have been feeling the bug.
See, that's what's weird because when I was doing lights and sound, I didn't have a bug. I was just concentrating on making them look good, making them sound good, blah, blah, blah. I got a bug after I started the podcast. And I've got a treatment in there that I started writing. I just can't find nobody to help me finish it because I don't know how to write the treatment out per se in treatment style for a movie. But I've got the idea in my head. I know what I want. I know how it needs to be. I've even broke it out into different scenes and stuff, and it's in there on my desk.
Yeah. I think the how for anything comes after the passion and just diving in.
Yeah.
I think the how comes later, maybe.
Well, see, I researched more to do the podcast than I did writing the treatment.
Gotcha.
Because it just have you ever started writing something and it's like you just can't cut the flow off? It's like there.
Yeah.
That's what I did with the treatment.
Okay.
And then there was things that I couldn't figure out exactly how to write them, but it was still flooding in my head. So I just wrote a bunch of stuff out,
Yeah, of course.
And then I wrote a song.
Yeah. I had a writing coach tell me, write with the door closed, write as if nobody's ever going to read it, and then go back and edit. Because at heart, I'm an editor.
Yeah.
Like that's what I went to school for, was like, I got a degree in English, and it was a basically grammar degree.
Yeah, there ain't no grammar in that treatment. I can tell you that right now.
But he said, write with the door closed, and as if nobody's ever going to read what you're going to write. And that way you can just let it flow, and then you go back and fix it and edit and do all, everything that needs to be done.
Well, see, my biggest problem is I drove a truck for 40 years, 7 million miles safe.
Wow.
Yeah, kind of weird, but yeah. And then on weekends I was doing light and sound. And I told another friend of mine, you want to write a song? Just tell me what you want to write about. I probably got a story about it.
That's awesome.
Because I've got stories for days.
Right, yeah.
And it was crazy because I had this particular person. He's big on just tell me, just start talking, just tell me.
Yeah.
And him and his wife sat right there, and she was doing words and stuff, and I'm sitting here telling, and next thing I know, I just wrote a song with David Easterling.
Yeah, I know David.
And his wife.
Okay,
And it was crazy.
Yeah.
But when I played it, I wished it had gone a different direction.
I gotcha.
But that was just first run.
Yeah, editing.
Editing. Get the editor.
Yeah, I had a write today, and we were discussing the person I co-wrote with. I said, I feel like I need to let this marinate for a few days and then come back to it and see how we feel about it. So,
well, I mean, I've talked to several songwriters that they have wrote a song and come back to it, whether it was 6 months or a year.
Yeah.
And then they would change the whole song.
Yeah.
I had an artist, he was here, and it was funny because we were talking about the song and how he wrote it. And then he said, oh, well, this song didn't start like this.
Right.
And I'm like, do what?
Yeah.
And he had changed it, just about the whole song.
Yeah.
He had changed it.
Yeah.
But he kept the instrumentation. Mm-hmm. He only changed the instrumentation just a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I've got songs that are much different than when I first started out writing them.
Yeah.
Editing.
Editing.
Make it better.
Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, di. It was crazy stuff. I got to go get a shirt made that says crazy stuff. I say that too much. Maybe I need a vocal coach. Teach me how to not say that. What?
I don't think that's what a vocal coach does.
For real.
Hey, if a vocal coach can stop you with that,
I just say hush.
yeah. Mm-hmm. See,
You just need a vocal editor.
yeah, I need a vocal editor. It had to be permanent up here, though. Somebody hit the shock collar when I.
Right. Oh, bless.
I don't think there's enough votes.
No. Well, I've been trying to curb naughty words.
Gotcha.
It's the best way I know how to say it. But anyway, I said a naughty word on here, and Julie cuts her eyes a lot. So, and the person that I was interviewing was like, you know, just hit the button, and I was, no, it'd be a continuous.
Right.
Not going to do it.
Look, I grew up in a household where there was no cursing. And so as a young adult, I never did. And when things shifted in my life and I started using naughty words, my kids were little, and my youngest especially would be like, Mom, you just said a bad word. And she would get so upset about it.
Yeah. Did you have the money jar? The swear jar?
No.
Oh, dude.
I would have filled it up quickly.
Yeah.
I probably still would.
I would around here now. I don't know.
Vocal.
At least I'd know where the daggum money's at.
Right.
He'd be overflowing in one day.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking I'd use that for a vacation.
No, I'm using it for a shopping spree.
You can have your own swear jar, okay?
No, yours would be quicker.
It'd be full faster.
I get more stuff in his jar.
I'm bad. Freaking, look, truck driver and music industry stuff.
Don't blame that.
I'm not blaming that. I'm saying, look what I was around.
Right? Yeah.
You know, people that you're around kind of,
Influence you.
yeah, that word.
Yep.
Anna's walking around with a freaking cat. I said freaking. Rebekah, look at that. That's what you need. You need that cat.
I have a cat, and she is a moody cat, and she would not allow another cat in my house.
Is it an orange tabby?
No, she is oh my gosh, I can't think of the word. I can't think of what type she is.
Yeah, there
But
you go.
she is very moody. We have a word for her that I won't say on here. So
Do we need a swear jar?
yeah, we do. I do love cats though, but my middle daughter brought home some kittens that she had found one day. And they were babies, and my cat would not have them in the house. And she ended up having to, I think she took them to the shelter. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
my cat is, she's very possessive of me.
This is Freya. She's one of those weird breeds. It's a Highlander.
Hi.
She got extra toe beans.
Oh, I see. Hi.
And she comes with the ears are like that from birth and the tail too.
Oh my God, how cute. Okay. She's adorable.
This is no way, shape, fashion, or form of an endorsement of Highlander cats. Anna keeps telling me I need to just have the cats on the show. They would sell the show.
Be entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, my husband has recently gotten into TikTok after not being
Oh, God.
He does not care a thing in the world about social media, but just last week on our trip, he was like, I'm going to do some TikToks to, talk about our trip. And so he did, and it went really well for him. And so now he's like, maybe I should do some TikToks of the cat, because our cat she's something else.
That's what Anna does with these cats around here.
Yeah,
She'll catch them doing something stupid, and she'll take video of them.
Yeah, our cat does not say. We have a little Maltipoo dog. She's 17 years old. So
What?
Maltipoo. She's one of those little dogs.
Maltipoo?
Maltipoo, yes. And so she's 17. She can't see very well. She can't hear very well. She doesn't do much except just lay around a lot. But if my daughters bring their dogs over, it's a whole different story for the cat. So we have to put the cat downstairs and close the door. Otherwise, she will claw the dog's eyeballs out.
Oh, great.
So if the dogs happen to make it, because we have this glass door from upstairs and downstairs, the door that closes it off. Anyway, so if the dog happens to make it down the stairs and the cat happens to see the dog, it is all heck breaks loose on the door, because the cat is basically sprawling out all fours, slamming herself against the door trying to get to the dog. So we were like,
Hubby on the side ringing the bell. Ding, ding, ding.
Right. We should do the TikToks of the cat, like slamming herself against the door.
Are you ready to? I can't do that.
rumble.
No, you can't do that. It's copyright.
Is it? Oops. Sorry.
People copyright the craziest stuff nowadays.
I bet.
But yeah, we got
Money.
we got TikTok. Anna runs my TikTok,
All right.
I think. I'm pretty sure she does. I just the whole social media stuff just drives me nuts.
It's a lot.
It is.
It can be consuming.
I mean, I still have nightmares every now and then of when AOL had dial-up.
Right?
You wake up in the middle of the night and the only thing you hear is doo dee 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 doo doo.
Yeah. But I mean, now, like, if you want to publicize yourself in any way, if you're just, an independent artist or an independent author or whatever, I mean, you have to do that stuff. You have to be on social media and making it work for you. And it is hard and it is time consuming.
Well, I've told a lot of people, because I've had to go through that with the show, and I'm guilty. I do have a girl doing the social media now for me, because it just got to that point where I just couldn't.
Yeah, it's overwhelming.
Well, I mean, you open Facebook and it's like 60 something notifications, and you're just like, what the heck?
Sure.
And with the videos that you can stream and do this and do that, I can stream, this show on Facebook.
Right.
And I just couldn't keep up with all of it.
Yeah.
It drove me nuts.
Yeah.
But I've told a lot of people, if you got some friends that are really good with that stuff, and you can talk to them into helping you out, you keep creating the songs and the music and making the EPs or however they're doing it. I think a lot of people now are dropping a song every month.
Single, yeah.
Yeah. And if you can keep all of that going, and the other people are helping you with the social media, in a way, there's your marketing.
The problem is I'm the friend who's good at social media.
Any good at YouTube? We'll get you on that here in a little bit.
I'm the one people are asking, how are you publicizing yourself? How are you doing all this? I'm like, I'm the one.
Yeah. See, you just got to teach somebody else how to do it.
Right? Exactly.
And YouTube's a big thing. You've got to be able to categories and do all this stuff with the YouTube. That way you're...
Yeah, I don't know as much about YouTube.
I don't think a lot of people do.
Yeah.
Because the girl that helps...
so difficult.
Yeah, the girl that helps me with the social media stuff, she's not up to date on the YouTube stuff.
Right, yeah.
But if you go to YouTube and you're researching how to make your YouTube better, they're telling you tidbit stuff.
Sure.
And that's what I've told a lot of people too. You got to watch what you're watching on how-to videos and everything else.
Yeah.
They want you to do it, just don't tread on their little turf.
Sure.
I
As
remember,
far as YouTube goes, I think I've uploaded a few videos, but mostly I do the shorts just because shorts are so similar to reels. And
see, I can't figure out how to put them on the shorts.
okay, shorts are easy.
I've got a bunch of freaking under 30-minute videos.
Okay, shorts are like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So that's easy for me. Creating longer content is more difficult.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we invite people on this show just so we can get them to do our social media. It's good stuff. Back to what I was saying.
Yes, go ahead.
I digress, whatever. Nowadays, it's almost like you don't really need to worry so much about getting that record deal,
Oh, yeah.
getting this or getting that. Things will come.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to work at it a little bit harder.
Yeah. I have found over the past year that it is a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
It is a lot of work. But if you're committed to doing the work and you do it,
Wait a minute, committed or committable?
if you're committed, I think you have to be committed. I mean, there might be a little bit of the committable. I guess you have to be a little crazy to do this, right?
You know, sometimes I really think, because how many hours a day do you work on it?
Oh gosh, most days 6 or 7. I mean, it could be a full-time job if I let it,
Right.
but certainly not getting paid for that.
Right. Well, see, I get up 3:00 every morning. Mm-hmm. I got to be at the day job at 4.
Right.
I get off the day job at 1:30. So the time I leave work, get back here, it's around 2-ish. Mm-hmm. And from 2 till whenever I decide I'm done and going to bed,
Yeah.
I'm back doing this. So in a sense, we've got 2 full-time jobs.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear that. My husband and I own a construction company, a fence construction company.
Oh, you got 3 full-time jobs.
Well, I don't work in that anymore so much. I'm just kind of on the fringes of that.
Yeah.
But I was telling him the other day, I said, building that business up, he was always just focused on it. Mm-hmm. And I said, I see now why you were that way, because if I let myself, that's all I could think about, how, what am I doing? What songs am I recording next? And how am I going to promote them? And, when am I going to drop the singles, and what marketing am I going to do with it? And so it could be all consuming if I let it.
Yeah. And then you're pretty much writing songs about top rail and corner post and line post.
Never.
And you're wondering how I know all this.
How do you know?
Fresh out of high school, 17 years old, volunteer fence. I went to work over there with Sydney, and him and his brother had a fence company called Fences Unlimited.
All right.
And when they split, Volunteer Fence and Fences Unlimited was born. So
How about that?
it's all in the family.
Understood.
And I went out there and I did that crap for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And that's when I was first starting in the music industry,
Okay.
doing lights and sound and stuff.
And you said lights and sound were much better than building fences, correct?
Well, yeah, but I did find out, it's an interesting tidbit. You can take industrial top rail and some clamps, mount it, and hang lights off of it.
All right.
And it's way cheaper than going to the lighting store and buying the
bet.
same damn thing.
I bet.
$10 a stick. Lighting store, $35.95. I mean, come on.
Just get a little creative.
Just get creative. Well, that's with anything. You got to be creative.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot of people don't know how to be creative.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I'm sad for.
Yeah. People that lose their creativity, because I feel like we're all born with a creative spirit.
My creative spirit came from being born in 1965.
Yeah.
God, I'm telling my age big time now. And I remember from the time I was old enough to be throwed out the house and an only child, I had to be creative.
Sure.
I had to invent things and do things and occupy my time.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You know, I even tried teaching my granddaughter how to go outside and build grass huts. You could build a whole little village and give me some Hot Wheels cars. It was over with, hon. I had a blast.
I bet you did.
It was just all kinds of crazy stuff that we did back then. What do you want? Sure you don't want a cat?
I do not need another cat. I would love one.
This one loves on you.
Mine does too, and she would not be happy. When I go home from my friend's house, she's going to smell her cat. On
Oh,
my
that'll be
clothing,
fun.
and yeah, it's going to be interesting.
You'll get a SWAT just for how dare you,
Yeah,
Mom.
exactly. Not to mention, we just left her for 10 days. We had to board her and the dog, so she was not happy with me yesterday morning when I picked her up.
Well, see, I think, and this is just me, I'll probably start a riot about all this, but I think if you buy an airplane ticket, you should be able to buy your animal, cat or dog, an airplane ticket.
Yeah.
And it should be able to ride on the plane with you.
Oh, Lord, now.
That would be fun.
I think it would depend on what kind of cat or dog.
That would be disastrous.
I think it'd be funny as I'll get out.
Why is it going to be funny?
Because
Okay,
would
what if I'm
freak
on an
out.
airplane and this man over here and this man over here both have their cats, and I'm allergic to cats?
open the
By the
cage.
time I get there,
Open the cage. Watch the fun. There's nothing like a dog and a cat fighting on an airplane.
I'm not sure we'd call that fun.
I hear ya.
What's better than snakes on a plane?
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
that was I didn't like that movie.
I still haven't seen it just because of
You don't need to see.
I
it.
just
What movie is that?
snakes on the plane.
Oh, that's the name of it?
Yeah,
Oh, I've not heard of it.
yeah.
I don't watch things with snakes,
I don't either.
especially before bedtime, because then I dream about them, and that is
Amen.
not good.
My kids' favorite thing when they were little, and I blame their mother for this crap. Their favorite thing to do was find garter snakes and chase me around the yard. I could
Oh, my
not
God.
stand snakes.
No.
I can't do it. Ain't got no legs. Come on now.
People that find snakes in their houses, I'm like, just burn it down. I mean,
Have you seen? I'll have to ask your husband this, but have you seen the TikTok videos of stuff where people are finding these like Burmese pythons
no,
in their house?
no,
They're like,
no.
they're freaking huge.
Move. It's time to move.
No, it's time to walk outside and throw a Molotov cocktail in.
Yeah, no.
Time to go.
Yeah, time to go.
Time to go.
Blow the house up. Go.
Right?
No. Well, that's like when we had the flood in 2010.
Yeah.
One of my friends, it flooded over in her house. Didn't think nothing about it. And
Snakes.
she went up in her attic to get something.
Oh, God.
And she had exercise equipment up there. And she said, "What is that on my exercise equipment?" And she walked closer and closer. It was a huge 6-foot snake skin.
Oh, my God.
Nope. I don't care if it's just the skin. Time to burn the house and leave.
It
Exactly.
came in from the vent. Is where it came in from with the flood.
That's like spiders. I can't do spiders in a house either.
I can kill a spider.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, there's one in my bathroom in there, if you don't mind. He will live in there till he dies, because I ain't touching him.
I mean, you better kill it, because then he could just crawl on your face while you're asleep.
No, he's actually been haved. He right in his little web. He don't ever move.
No. I'll kill a spider. But a snake, no.
I ain't doing it.
Leave.
Give me a shovel. I'll kill in a heartbeat.
But this is the state of Tennessee. You're not supposed to kill a snake in the state of Tennessee. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yes, seriously. Unless it's about to bite you.
It's about to bite you.
Well, I mean, I would have to just claim it was about to bite me.
It looked at me wrong.
Exactly. It was in the wrong spot.
It slithered my way, man. Ain't happening. Mm-mm.
Interesting. When I was a kid, I was probably like 7 or 8, and we had gone. We lived in Alabama, and so we had gone out to this creek area to go swimming, and
This got snake road all over
it does. It certainly does. And so my parents were standing up on this huge boulder. My sisters and I were in the water. I was closest to my oldest sister, and then my parents start yelling, "Don't move! Don't move!" Water moccasins in the water, and my dad has a gun and is trying to shoot at these snakes.
Yeah, I'm not moving.
I was young enough that I didn't know enough to be scared, except that just mind when you're told to be still, and so I was. And then my sister dragged me, across the water to get out. But oh my God, looking back on that now, I'm like, holy crap! That close to a water moccasin? No, thank you.
Well, see, me and Dad, we would go fishing. And he loved night fishing.
Oh God.
So we would go out and, striper get to running in the middle of the night, and we'd be out there, casting and catching. But before we went out to where the striper were, we would get up around the bank and try to get some, night bass. And we got in one little area, and I heard something drop in the boat.
Oh God.
And my dad turns the flashlight around, and there's this big old water moccasin right in the middle of the boat. And I was frozen. I could not move.
Yeah.
And he just walks over and picks it up and throws it on the bank.
Oh my God. Mm-mm.
I was like, you lost your freaking mind.
Yeah. We have some friends who chase snakes.
Yeah, no.
Not interested.
That little monkey over there will do it.
No.
She will reach out and grab a snake in a heartbeat and sit there and go, oh, look how pretty.
Right. But you know what? When my kids were young and they were in school, they went to 4-H camp and they let them hold snakes and crap. Yeah. And I'm like, we didn't do that when I was a kid.
Their mother, my ex-wife, married another guy, and he raised snakes.
Oh my God.
So they were around them and feeding them and raising them and stuff. And I'm just like, yo, no.
They're just evil to me. Snakes are evil.
I wouldn't even have lived in that house. I'd be like, no.
No.
Ain't happening.
Same.
Ugh.
I can handle a lot of things, but snakes are not one of them.
Yeah, no. Nah, it ain't going to happen. It's too crazy, all that stuff. Oh, Lord. How many songs do you have out?
Well, let's see. This year...
Or should I say released?
Yeah. This year I released an EP with 5 songs on it. And last year I released 1. And then in 2022 I released another. So that's 7. And then back in 2012 I released another EP. I think it had 5 songs. I don't even remember. But that's all I've released so far. But I'm going into the studio in December, and I'm so excited.
Awesome.
Yeah. Recording new music that's going to be different from anything I've released so far. So I'm very excited about that.
So you're going heavy metal now?
No. Just different quality, different content, especially lyrical content, different, and then a different sound. So I'm excited about it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Just kind of swap it up.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like this last EP that I released is called Year of Jubilee. I felt like I had some things to say, and it was a companion to my poetry book that I released back in the spring called Poems from the Back Pew. And so all of that kind of worked together, and it was a compilation of 10 years worth of work. And I felt like I finally said all the things I needed to say up to this point about, that subject. And now it's time to do something different. And so that's what I'm planning on doing.
So it's kind of like You're going through life and you've got a particular thing to say. You said it, and now you're moving on to the next stage.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
See, that's cool as I get out.
Yeah.
I love that.
Different seasons. So I feel like I kind of fulfilled this season, and now I can move forward.
Therapeutic almost.
Yes, it is.
I'm still shocked I said the word, but anyway. I'm not a lyricist.
We know. But you know what?
What?
Get to buy me another new book.
Oh, God. She reads faster than anybody I ever known. And she just pulled up your book.
I hear you.
She
I'm a reader too.
She pulled up your book.
Awesome. Yay.
She'll be buying your book and reading it.
That's great.
You need a review?
I have a copy in the car. I can slide you one.
Oh, okay. Good.
She's going to be happy all day now.
Awesome.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm a big reader too. I love to read.
Hey, I have a book waiting on me at home that just got there today.
Sweet.
So
I read.
comic books.
That was back in the day. And there's no telling how many millions of dollars I lost on that.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But I'm not saying what happened to them because my cousins are awesome. I do love them. But yeah, it was the whole reading thing. I like reading when I have time. But I'll stick with one author.
Oh, yeah?
Until I get to the end of the whole series of books.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's weird.
I have authors I like and will read a lot of their work.
See, but I just sat here and blanked on who the author was that I was reading. And I've got almost every one of their books. She wrote the case.
Patricia.
Huh?
Patricia
Cornwell.
Okay. I've not read her.
I love the Carpetta series that she came out with.
Okay.
And it's all about a medical examiner that solves crimes and deaths and mysteries and stuff.
I like those kinds of books.
It was cool, and it was just All That Remains and all the stuff that she wrote. It was just great stuff.
All right.
I probably, if I was to go in there and pick up another book of hers, I'd probably fall asleep. Time management is not my friend.
I think I go through cycles of reading. I read more in the winter when, it gets dark early. And
Well, it's the snuggle up time.
Yeah, it is. In the summer, I tend to be super busy. Although when we go to the lake or to the beach or whatever, I'll download some books on my Kindle and read. But I tend to read more in the winter.
See, that's what I was curious about, if you was a Kindle girl or an actual physical book.
You know what? It's just been within the last 2 years because I was always I love the library. I'm a nerd.
Yeah.
So I love going to the library. I love to hold a book in my hands. But I live in a town where the library is so small that I was constantly having to wait on books, putting me on a wait list. And I was done with that. And I didn't want to spend a fortune on books going to the bookstore. So
Right.
bought a Kindle, and that was the best thing I did because now, you can get free or unlimited, Kindle Unlimited, I think, if you spend a certain amount of money and per month, then it's not much, I could buy one book for that. And so, yeah, I have turned into a Kindle girl. So
The library was so small, it was still using the Dewey Decimal System.
right.
I will never forget that. They drilled that in our head when we were little.
I mean, think of all the things that we learned that is
Nobody
so
uses.
useless. And now, kids just have Google. They don't have to learn anything. They can
I
just,
have to get up and go pull the card out.
Yeah.
right? Right.
Let me figure out what card it is. Now I got to figure out where it's at.
And then you got to put the card back. When you put it back in, you got to leave
Yep.
a placeholder sticking it up.
Was you in fiction or nonfiction?
Right.
I mean, but then, my favorite joke that I love to tell people is I remember learning math in school. Mm-hmm. And one of their biggest things was, you're not going to have a calculator in your pocket all the freaking time. And I pull the iPhone out.
Yeah.
And calculator.
You've got the whole world in your hands.
I've got everything right here, bucko.
Right.
That's the crazy stuff that I look at things and how we were raised and different things. And it's like a lot of the stuff is non-existent. Mm-hmm. It's just not there no more.
Yeah.
Like manners and.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Do you follow any teachers on TikTok? Because it is quite entertaining.
No, I don't.
Oh my gosh. There are some great teachers on TikTok who like to tell stories about what kids have told them.
Yeah.
And it is fascinating and quite entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's no. I haven't seen. I don't get on TikTok.
It's a whole different world. It's quite entertaining.
Well, I mean, like every now and then on Instagram,
Yeah.
because you can scroll through it and look at stuff. I'll do that every now and then.
Yeah. Instagram's so different now than it was a few years ago. Like it used to be easy to grow on Instagram, and now it is not.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, it's different. It's a whole different beast.
I have it, and I know some stuff that I post on Facebook goes on the Instagram, and that's about
That's
it.
about it.
People send me messages every now and then, and I got to fight to figure out where in the heck I can
Yeah.
find the message.
Yeah.
But that's about it.
Yeah.
Almost all my stuff that I do is really Facebook. Mm-hmm. And
Depends on who your audience is.
I still liked MySpace.
Oh God, yeah, MySpace. I started blogging with MySpace.
Well, see, that's one thing I was going to ask you too, because you did the whole blogging thing and everything, and I was wondering how that came about.
Yeah.
I find it fascinating.
So, yeah, MySpace, that was around what, 2006 or 7, probably.
I think.
And I don't know. I just started writing little paragraphs, and posting, I can share my thoughts with the world kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then, of course, MySpace went away, and I would write a little bit on Facebook. But eventually I got to where I was like, oh, okay, I have things to say. And so I created, back then I think it was Blogger. Maybe blogger.com. I can't remember. Anyway, eventually I upgraded to a WordPress site. You're getting somewhere when you've got a WordPress site.
I made it. Yes.
Yeah, right. And that was a beast. WordPress was a beast to try to figure out. But so I felt like I had things to say, and my life started changing in my 30s, and the environment that I grew up in, I decided I wanted a different life, and so I wrote about it.
Yep.
So,
and at least you had a outlet.
yeah,
A lot of people don't have an outlet.
that is true. It's interesting that I wrote about this journey of leaving a belief system and the process of it, and it's very interesting that I had a lot of people who used to message me privately. They were afraid to talk about things, and I was one of the few, or one of the early ones, that was pretty transparent about my journey,
Right.
publicly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I like that some people do find that avenue to get it out, because, dude, y'all keep stuff bottled up, man.
Right.
I mean, turns your hair gray.
you got to go to therapy. Been to a lot of therapy over the years.
I had a lot of people tell me I needed therapy, but I never went because I figured I would get charged twice.
Why's that?
because my therapist would need a therapist.
Oh, gotcha. I think therapists go into therapy to get their own therapy, maybe.
It's possible.
I
I don't know how
know
that
either.
works.
I've spent a lot of time in a lot of therapist offices over the years. So
Well, you could have just, read about Sigmund Freud and all his stuff.
yeah.
You know.
Well, I did read a lot of self-help books. So
Yeah, I didn't have that. I just had Dad teaching me how to hunt, fish, and shoot guns. And
that's what my husband grew up. Yeah, that's his outlet.
well, yeah,
Nature and
nothing else. Just go out there and make a target, blow the shit out of some stuff. See, she cut her eyes at me again.
where's that tip? That not tip jar, but where's that swear jar?
The swear jar.
Not the tip jar.
I need a swear jar.
Keep it up, I get my cowboy boots quicker.
Yeah. You got cowboy boots?
I do.
Sparkly?
No. Well, I do have some sparkly boots, but my favorite ones have treble clefs all over them and like music notes, and so they're
Okay.
turquoise and yellow, and they're very pretty, but they're not sparkly.
We
They're
could
very
actually
girly.
we could actually take one of the treble notes and put some sparkly in it.
Yeah,
Didn't have to be black. I mean, it was
yeah. I have a treble clef on my wrist.
sweet.
Yeah.
There's a reason behind it.
There is.
I love reasons.
Okay, well,
And I like tattoos. So
so I was 34, 35 before I ever got my first tattoo.
okay.
And this is the one I wanted. It's treble clef, and it has a little cross in the center of it because at the time, so at one point I thought I was going to be a women's worship leader in church, and so that was the reasoning for this. There's a lot more to it, but that was kind of the reasoning for it. I at this point I kind of want to get it altered a little bit and
Yeah.
maybe do something a little different in the center. But yeah, for me it was kind of a promise to myself to continue to pursue music no matter what.
Yeah.
So
And that's good.
yeah, and then on this wrist I put the reminder to always create.
Yay.
And my daughters, oh my gosh, they're obsessed with tattoos.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've got 14 or 15 right now.
That's awesome. I want another one. I want one on my shoulder. I want a bird cage
Yeah.
that is pulled open, not necessarily broken, but like as if somebody has taken the cage and pulled it apart and opened it that way, and then have a bird flying out with music notes all around it as if it's singing. So that's my
Oh,
next
that'd be
one.
cool.
Yeah.
See, I'll be one of them more. I would be like a weird guy on that particular tattoo. I'd want like Sylvester and Tweety.
Oh no.
And then the clef notes and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just I think of weird stuff.
Yeah.
But that's honestly because that tattoo that you got and the meaning behind it and everything else, I find fascinating
Yeah.
because, and I told you earlier, I've divorced 3 times. That's where you laughed. But anyway, I was at that point in my life where things were so scattered and I couldn't find direction. I was just basically lost. I was lost within myself. And I had a friend of mine that I've had since high school. We had lost contact. We had got back in touch with each other. And he was a tattoo artist,
Yeah.
which he always loved to draw when he was younger anyway. And I found that cool. And me and him got to talking, and I told him, I said, I've got an idea and I want this tattoo. Mm-hmm. And he's like, come down here, tell me, I'll match you up with it and draw it for you and we'll put it on you. Mm-hmm. And after sitting down there at his shop for like 30 minutes and telling him the stories and all the craziness and everything that was in my life and everything else, and he got on the internet and pulled up a Viking compass.
Interesting.
And ever since I've had that Viking compass, I've been more focused.
Really?
It is wild.
That is interesting. So what does that signify?
Just a Viking compass.
Okay, but what does that signify?
Yes, Anna, I'm looking at you. I'm waiting on you to mouth in. The Viking compass, what does it signify? See? You can tell she's my kid. To me, it signified direction, purpose, and life flow.
Interesting.
Because I had no flow. I had nothing. I went to work. I come home. That was it.
Yeah.
And just kind of weird.
See, for me, I think it was completely opposite. I had to get lost.
Yeah.
Like I needed to get lost because I felt I grew up, I always had the answers. I always, had the right answers. And I needed to be lost for a little while.
So, like Motley Crue wrote, you needed life on the wild side.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I would ever characterize myself as wild. But I just needed to be less certain of everything.
Yeah.
I grew up in a very, in a culture that was very black and white. Mm-hmm. There were no shades of gray.
Yeah.
And I had to go experiment and find some shades of gray and learn some grace for myself and for others. So I just kind of had to lose myself and get lost for a little while. So.
See, I had a wife that everything was black and white. Mm-hmm. That's the way it had to be.
Yeah.
Even in arguments or disagreements. We'll be nice. We'll say disagreements. And I was always the one standing there looking at her and saying, life cannot be black and white.
Yeah.
There is color to all.
I think people that live in that rigidity are harder on themselves internally than certainly I did. And certainly the environment that I grew up in the culture seems really harsh and is very harsh towards others.
Yeah.
But I think if people are honest in that culture, they would say internally they're more hard on themselves than anybody else.
Yeah.
Harder.
I don't know.
Harder. Grammar. Editing myself here.
Hardest? I don't know. But yeah, I get that because I hated the arguments. Mm-hmm. I couldn't stand somebody telling me that something had to be a certain way.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts. Mm-hmm. And you got purple, you got orange. Look, God created all these freaking colors, man. I can see in color.
Right.
So if we're going to Jamaica and I get the little mango thing in my drink and I'm sitting on the beach, trust me, I'm not looking at black and white dullness.
Sure.
I'm looking at life and adventure and fun.
And it's hard to be creative when you live in that space of such a rigid space and feel like everything's either black or white. It's hard I don't know how you can be truly creative and express your creative self in that environment. I couldn't.
No, you can't.
It was when I started asking really difficult questions and starting getting chastised for asking those questions.
Don't you love that?
Yeah.
You just ask a question about life,
Yeah.
and they're just like,
Yeah, but that's when my creativity started flowing out of me. It was when I started asking the questions of, this could be wrong. I could be wrong. Imagine that. I could be wrong.
Yeah. You know, I've asked that question about a lot of things in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And then I stopped asking those questions to other people.
Yeah, yeah.
And I just started, what if I'm wrong?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm believing this and what you're telling me and everything else, what if I'm wrong in believing what you're telling me?
Exactly. Yeah.
Why don't I experience life? Why don't I find out on my own?
Yes.
And that's where a lot of, I never knew I liked researching.
Yeah.
And then I'm researching stuff and I'm finding out stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about the podcast, because I look at what you guys are creating and the songs and what you're going through to, because I know the whole production side and the going in the studio and beating your head against an engineer's brick wall to get him to understand what you're trying to create, you know. I get it. And I'm so much happier.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just makes me feel better.
Yeah.
And I love it when there's times I have the answers for people and I can actually physically show them.
Yeah, sure.
I've always hated. Have you ever been that way? Just, it's like, okay, you can write this down and you can tell me and you can do all this other stuff, but I'm not going to believe it until you show me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think most humans are that way sometimes.
Well, Missouri is a show me state, so
Yeah.
I mean, we could go up there. I don't know. Just crazy stuff. Welcome to my world. Or what was that other one that? Hello, walls. You think? I don't know. That's all she's doing is shaking her head at me. Welcome to the big evolution of the David Bradley Show.
Right.
Get it, get it, get it. Mm-mm. What are you doing? She's raising her eyebrows at me. I have no clue.
I was behaving.
You's behaving.
She's reading a book.
Bull crap.
I don't have a book in my hand. But,
She'll be reading a book.
hey, I just seen there's a yard sale and it's got books.
Aren't those the best? Like 25-cent
I
books.
hear you. McKay's. Have you ever been to McKay's?
I have not.
Oh, God, don't get her started.
You got to go to McKay's.
Okay. I mean, is it a used bookstore? What is it?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
The David Bradley Show in no shape, fashion, or form sponsors McKay's.
There's one in West Nashville.
Unless they want to pay us.
Right off the interstate at Old Hooker Boulevard.
Okay.
And they have a huge one in Knoxville.
See, my problem is now I don't need another stack of books. That's why I'm loving the Kindle, because I'm like, I have a closet full of books.
But these books, like, I go in and I keep a list.
Uh-huh.
And I'll buy the whole, if there's 10 of them in the series, I'll
Yeah.
buy them. You can get them for a quarter, 50 cents.
Really?
Yes,
Interesting.
you can do it. And you can take up to 25 of them back and get your money back per year.
See, that's what I need to do. Okay, we
But
do
I don't
have.
do that.
Yeah,
I
that's
just take all
yeah.
my books like I'm just turning them in,
Yeah.
and I
You
might
just
get,
get credit?
yeah, you get credit.
Yeah. Okay. See, we have a bookstore at home that does that. And I went up there one time to turn in a whole bunch of books. And I waited in line for like an hour, and I was like, no, done. Done. And then I started reading the Kindle. So I was like, well, I have we have this closet downstairs that my husband turned into like a bookshelf closet for me so that I could put books in there. And then I have books in my garage that, like, what do you do with them once you've read them?
That's it.
What are you going to do?
That's the reason why I get them and I get through. I just take them all back.
Yeah.
And I don't get much for them, but,
Yeah. Yeah.
I might get enough to buy 3 or 4 more books.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Well, now I download the free ones from the Kindle Unlimited, That's what I do now.
My sister has a Kindle, and she reads it every night.
See,
I don't know. I like the books.
I'm a book lover. Now I like to feel a book in my hands.
But I think I'm going to get me a Kindle.
Yeah.
I keep saying I'm going to get one.
Yeah, it's easy to read and carry around.
Hint, hint, Christmas coming.
Welcome to Tuesday Night Book Talk with...
We'll just have book club here.
It's the David Bradley Book Club.
What's the best book you've read lately?
I can't say. I cannot say.
Stars don't carry their own baggage.
That was a very interesting book. I highly recommend that to you.
Okay.
You've got to read that
Okay.
book.
I haven't heard of it, but okay.
It was Rick Fuellner.
Okay.
He's probably going to shoot me for saying this. He's been a road manager for over 40 years.
Okay.
So what he
I bet he's
did,
got some stories.
he got a lot of stories.
Right?
Lots of stories.
So what he did was, instead of writing it about a particular band
Sure.
that he had been a road manager for, names have changed to protect the innocent type thing. What he did, oh look, she's going to hand it to you.
Nice.
What he did is he made up a band and made them the focal point of all the stories.
All the stories. Oh.
And I'm like, dude, this would be a huge movie
Yeah.
if somebody would actually pick that up.
Yeah.
And it's not that many pages either,
Yeah.
but it's interesting stories.
Definitely going to have to read it.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Have to
I'll give you the bite on it,
Okay.
and this is the big bite for me. And I hope he doesn't shoot me, but I'm not going to give it all away.
Yeah, are you going to ruin it? Don't ruin it for
I'm
me.
not going to ruin it. But
I know what I'm saying.
there was a smell in a room, and they couldn't figure out where the smell was coming from. The body was in the bed.
Oh, my God. Jesus.
And that's all I'm saying. Y'all can read the book and
Okay.
and figure out the rest of that.
All right.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff.
Yeah, sounds like it. All right.
Because people have asked me before to write a book about road stories, things that I'd seen on the road. And do they make an R rating for a book? I mean, I've seen some weird stuff out there.
Yes, I do think they make an R rating for books. We call it spicy in the women's world.
Oh, it's a little spicy.
So I'm going to have to buy a new shelf over here.
Right.
I'm going to have to. We're definitely, because I keep getting stuff. And I love it. I love that people bring stuff to the show and everything. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I'll have to show you another book that you got to read.
Okay.
Oh, my God.
Got to read.
All right.
We keep circling around the books.
We like to
Sorry.
read.
The whole freaking other podcast.
Joan's going to shoot you if you don't be quiet.
Probably. I love that woman to death. She is hilarious.
Who is this?
Joan Williams. She's the one that wrote Bound by Song
yes.
and Born by Song. It's a 3-book trilogy,
Okay.
and it's cool as all get out. The guy and girl that were together, deeply in love, broke up.
Are you going to ruin it?
No,
Okay.
but they're the two main characters.
Okay.
I'm just telling about the main characters.
Okay.
It's cool.
I love to read fiction, and in fiction that's based off reality.
Mm.
I wish I could write fiction. I don't think I can write fiction.
I wished I could write like I'm gonna get shot for this. I wished I could write like Star Wars or Star Trek or something along that line, you know?
Okay. Like
Because I love the
fantasy
sci-fi
kind of
and the
thing.
fantasy.
Sci-fi. Okay.
Yeah. It's different stuff.
Yeah. I have another book idea. Like I have the book idea of the one that I wrote 9 chapters on, but then I have another book idea that I've been holding on to for years, but it's not fiction. Maybe one day. It's about music. It's about music people. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, it would be interesting.
It would be interesting. Okay. So I'm thinking all the artists who used to be Christian artists who are no longer Christian artists, I would love to interview all of these people and write stories about why they left.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that would be so fascinating. And like their journey of leaving that and pursuing something different.
Yeah.
I've been holding on to that thought in that book.
Well,
idea
you
for
know,
a while.
that's funny because, you know, that was something that I actually wanted to ask Michael Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Because Michael Sweet started out Stryper, which was a Christian rock band,
Yes,
heavy
yes.
metal rock band.
Yes.
And their tone and everything they have was different than anybody else's. I mean, it blew little 19-year-old me away.
Right.
I was just like, yeah. But Stryper went through an era where it was like they weren't singing about Christian music. It was like a dark era. And they literally took off the yellow and black that they were wearing all the time, and they were just like black leather and
Yes.
denim, you know. And I always wanted to ask him what that was about during that time, you know.
Yeah, I'm really fascinated by that kind of stuff. Like the journey that they go through or that they went through to get to another place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what that place was.
Yeah.
Was it like all the way or just kind of roaming around the outskirts or, you know, what's up with that?
Yeah. Interesting fact, I was not allowed to listen to Stryper. They were too hardcore.
I had, it's funny you said that. I had this lady on, and she had a strict upbringing. And she wasn't allowed to watch SpongeBob or
Oh, yeah.
some of those other shows because we were sitting there talking about Family Guy and some other stuff because her name was Meg. And her friends would tell her, "Shut up, Meg," all the time. And she didn't really know what they were talking about.
No. Look, I did not even get to watch Bambi when I was a kid. I was having a conversation with my husband and my oldest daughter, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago. I was like, yeah, I never saw Bambi.
No.
I wasn't allowed to go to the movie theater. So, yeah. Lots that I
You know,
didn't see or hear.
I seen Bambi, but I didn't see it all the way through. Same way as Old Yeller.
Oh, God, Old Yeller makes me cry.
When at that certain point, I refused to watch it anymore.
Oh, well, see, you had the option at least.
My parents were very open about a lot of things, but they went to, you know, had to be there on that pew every Sunday, you know.
Sure.
And, but they were open. You know, when I was 16, my mom actually bought some things in packages and gave them to me, and my dad had that long talk.
Okay.
And I'm like, "You're waiting
They
until
were really
16?"
right.
I mean, A little late, but anyway, it was different. I was blessed in some ways, and some ways I wasn't.
Yeah, sure.
You know,
I think we
and
can
I
all
think
say that.
yeah, just about everybody can say that.
Yeah.
You know, and it just gets nuts. Some people are crazy.
Yep.
So what do you got coming up for us?
What I've got coming up is a new EP. I don't know. I'm going to record it in December. And I haven't decided yet when I'm going to release it or how I'm going to release it. I think I'll probably release it as singles, maybe starting February or March.
Okay.
But I am still undecided on that.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I'm hoping, you know,
but it's a whole new path.
It is, and I'm fairly new to all of this. You know, this is a new journey for me, basically. While I've, you know, always been singing and always writing, and you know, I was in church choir and did all the things there, but this, particularly playing out, writing my own songs, playing them out, is a fairly new journey for me. So. What I would really like to do is next year, once I release this new EP, is to do like a little tour, some house. I love house concerts. I love an intimate setting. So,
you know, I have seen, it's weird you say that, because I have seen actually a couple of people and they're posting on Facebook, "Are you on my route?"
Yeah.
About doing house concerts and stuff. And I was just like, you know, that's really up close and intimate.
I love that. Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people like about the songwriter rounds, because they're more intimate with the audience.
Yeah. I love an intimate set. I love performing to an intimate setting, in an intimate setting. I did a house concert back this summer for a friend of mine in Atlanta, and I had just released the poetry book. I was still in the process of releasing the EP as singles, and I was able to go and, you know, just share these songs and some of these poems and tell the stories behind each one of them, and that is like my favorite thing to do. So
I love hearing the stories.
yeah. So I'm hoping that maybe next year I'll be able to do some of that. Again, it's all kind of new to me, so it's figuring out, okay, how do I make this work?
Yeah.
It's just a process for me. It's a learning process while I'm doing it. So,
Well, I'm going to go ahead and put a teaser in your ear.
okay.
Okay, you ready?
All right.
What we do up here every now and then, which I haven't done one in a while. We need to do one. I'll invite 2 or 3 artists up here, and everybody's been like street clothes and stuff. So I think we're going to go with the pajama approach.
Okay.
And what I like to do is I like to do songs from the couch.
Oh, yeah.
And we turn the cameras around to the couch that's behind you, and we have the microphone set up, and everybody's on the in-ear. So if you got the in-ear little buds that you can wear, we'll hook you up with all that, and people love it. I mean, they just been sitting on the couch and shooting a breeze, and it's just like a bunch of friends getting together and playing.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it.
Yeah.
Because I remember back in the day, we had campfires, you know, bonfires, and somebody would break out a guitar, you know.
Sure.
And you was hoping somebody wasn't playing Freebird, but it was big back then, you know. But we had all kinds of good times, you know, doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Which I've actually been talking to a friend of mine. That's what's weird. I lived at the top of the hill.
Okay.
Julie lived way down at the bottom of the hill. My other friends lived on the other side of the hill.
Okay.
My best friend lived at the very bottom. And it was a network of neighborhood kids.
Yeah.
And it was a blast. And nobody got in trouble. Yeah. But I've been talking to her, and she lives out in the Franklin area. And she's got one of these real big gazebos
Right.
with a fireplace in it. Mm-hmm. There's power out there. And I've been thinking about doing a show out there.
That would be beautiful.
Just to have that ambiance without it not being fake.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I hate fake.
I did a backyard concert. Well, actually, the one I was just telling you about was a backyard concert. And then I did another one out in Murfreesboro with a friend of mine this summer. And that was, she had lights strung up, and it was sweet. It was so sweet. I love that kind of atmosphere.
Yeah. It just, homey.
Yeah.
It just has a homey feel to it.
Yeah.
I
feel like there's a better connection.
Yeah.
Between the artist and the audience, and it feels less of a gap, less of a widening, so you can close that space and get to know them, and they get to know you.
Oh, yeah. And see, there was a lot of times we had like multiple guitarists and just everybody singing around and sitting. And Seven Bridges Road was a big thing. We loved doing that. I love the harmony in that. But what did everybody expect? I mean, honestly, you had 4 or 5 lead singers, 4 or 5 lead guitarists. I mean, it was like the super group of everything.
Right. Yeah.
And then they knocked that song out, and it was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Love some Eagles songs. I've been on a Fleetwood Mac kick lately.
I don't give a damn what age she is. I would take her out in a heartbeat. Just to hear her stories.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they had, I thought it was apropos. They come out with this series on, I think it was HBO or something like that. And it was about witches' coven.
Okay.
And she was like top mega girl,
Okay.
She walked in and it was cool. But there was actually a girl, one of the witches, that loved all the music of Stevie Nicks, and she would be singing it and stuff. And it was just like, I mean, you got to hand it to her, okay? As a woman, to make a man that you used to date play on the guitar the song that you wrote about his ass.
Right.
You can't top that. I mean, you look, end of story. That's done. That's it. You're done. Hey, won't you play that song one more time? Okay.
Right.
The whole time you were like,
Probably so, yeah.
that'd be hilarious. I got to ask you some questions every now and then. What is the number one song in your head that you actually wrote?
That I wrote?
Your favorite. The favorite of one that you wrote.
Well, I haven't released it yet.
You can still tell the title.
Okay, the title is Coosa River.
Coosa River.
Yeah, that's gonna be on the EP. I wrote it with a friend of mine named Michael Paris in North Carolina. And we wrote over Zoom or FaceTime or something one day, and we were trying to decide what we were going to write about. And I said, you know what? I have this thing I wrote. Like, it was a few paragraphs from a couple of summers ago when my husband and I were out on the boat, and we were out on the Coosa River in Alabama. And I lived on that river for a time when I was a kid, or lived close by. And so I spent some time down there, but, my dad would take me fishing on the river. But back then, that river was nasty. Like, you didn't get in that river. And so we were on the boat, and we went by this section on a bank. And it's the kind of place where you don't want to show up uninvited, I think. And
there's plenty of those places in Nashville.
And so I jotted a few things down, some thoughts I had about it. And so I read this to him. I read what I had written, and he was like, oh, yeah, well, let's write that song. And so we took what I'd written and we embellished and, made up a story about this particular spot on the Coosa River.
Right.
And it's just filled with imagery, and it's my favorite song, and I cannot wait to release it. I've actually already recorded that one. I recorded that one in September.
When are you going to release it?
Well, it's going to be part of the EP, so I'll probably hold that one off until like March or April. I think it's going to be a good kind of warm weather song, I think.
Okay.
So March, April, May, somewhere around in there. So,
Well, you got to keep me in the loop. That way I
Yeah,
can
okay.
actually post about it and
All right.
let people know.
yeah, that's my favorite one I've written so far.
That's cool. I love that.
Yeah.
I kind of get a feel for it.
Yeah, it's very, has some dark imagery in it.
Yeah, but there's something about songs about the waterways and stuff
Yeah,
that
yeah.
they really do. Chattahoochee, I mean, come on.
Yeah. That's a fun song.
20 years later, they're still selling T-shirts. So, I mean,
Yeah. This one, we have the imagery of, so when we were deciding to write, he said, I forgot about this part. He said, I want to write something with a 1953 Ford Red Belly Jubilee. It's
okay.
a tractor.
Yeah.
His dad has this particular tractor, and he was like, I want to put that in a song somewhere. And so that's when I read him what I had written, and he was like, yeah, we can make this work. And we did, and it was awesome. I love it. I think people are going to love it. So,
That's going to be cool.
yeah.
I can't wait. It's like I want a release date. I want
Yeah,
a
I
release
know.
date.
I don't have it yet. I'm still.
Okay. But when you bring it out and you figure out what day you want to do it
Yeah.
on, let me know. That way
Okay.
we can get it done.
All
Are
right.
you in Nashville now or where you at?
No, I live in Birmingham. I just come up to Nashville 2 to 3 times a month and stay with friends and do my thing up here. So,
That's okay as long as we know we can get you.
oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm up here several times a month usually. So,
Yeah, because you'll have to bring your pajamas and come hang out on the couch.
right.
It'd be cool as I'll get out. Thank you so much for coming up and
Well, thank you for
sharing.
having me. Yeah.
I mean, I love it. I love hearing these things.
Yeah.
And you're a good
I love
conversationalist too.
Thank you very much. I always say I'm not a good speaker. I'm a better writer than speaker. So thank you for saying that.
You're welcome. I hope everybody has learned a little bit about you on this. So
I hope so.
this will be cool as I'll get out.
Yeah. I enjoyed it. It's been fun.
And we're going to get you back up here.
Awesome.
We'll do the pajamas on the couch, songs from the couch,
Perfect.
all kinds of good stuff. Because we're always doing something crazy around here. Julie's like you. What did he think up next? Okay, yeah.
Have the
At least
swear
I
jar
didn't
out
come
next.
up with the freaking podcast about everybody sitting around eating spicy wings. Who could eat the spiciest wings? I didn't come up with that podcast.
But there is one.
Yes.
I mean, would find that entertaining.
Well, there's
I
several.
love some wings.
There's several podcasts out there that are they sit and drink until they're drunk.
That's fun. Now, I did have a friend who used to do a podcast about craft beer.
Yeah,
Like, it
I've
was
seen
a-
seen
yeah.
some of those too.
Yeah. He got out of that though, but yeah.
It's just I don't know.
I guess you could talk about anything.
You can. Yeah. That's what I love about podcasts. You can just sit and talk.
Yeah.
I think the longest podcast was like 7 or 8 days long.
Good God.
They kept rotating people out.
Oh, okay.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
They may have got Guinness Book of World Records. I don't know. That's nuts. Anyway, Miss Rebekah, please tell everybody where they can find you.
They can find me on all the social medias, Instagram, Facebook. I am on YouTube. So you can look up either Rebekah Gilbert or Rebekah Gilbert Music. And then you can also look at my website, which is RebekahGilbert.com. My book is available on Amazon called Poems from the Back Pew. And all my music is available on all streaming platforms. So wherever you listen to your music is where you can find mine.
Awesome. I love it. Maybe that's why I was doing, because I was just typing your name in. I wasn't adding music to it.
Spell it correctly.
Probably not.
It's Rebekah with a K, no C's.
I can't spell half the daggone time. So if it wasn't for her spelling stuff for me, I wouldn't know what I was spelling. So we had Sisters J on. We did a thing, and she had to spell out the girl's name, and she spelled it with a S instead of a Z.
Oh.
So it was interesting. Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to get off here. Everybody, Rebekah, so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
This has been fun.
It has.
Everybody, please remember, like, share, follow, subscribe. Follow, subscribe. Get the numbers up on these artists that you like, because the higher you get the numbers up on them, the more the booking agents can get them to bring them to your town. So you ain't got to drive 2 towns over to go see them. And it helps podcast out. It's like I tell everybody, like, share, follow, subscribe. It helps us all. Anybody that's creating anything, music, podcast, some crazy guy down the street, helps us all. So we're going to get out of here. And, yeah, that's all I got. You got anything? You got anything?
No.
Everybody's good?
It's good.
Everybody's good. We're out of here. Love you. Mean it. Bye. You hit the wrong button. FTB.